Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to our channel, Irons United's channel, for first of the season FA Cup preview. We have Gillingham. We travel to the Priestfield Stadium, and the game is on Sunday, 5th of January, in the FA Cup third round, and it's going to be a 6:16 kickoff. It's going to be an interesting one. Gillingham's manager, Steve Evans, has named the same starting 11 for their past 5 matches, which shows a sign of consistency. But they're also unbeaten in their last 7 games. My name, of course, is Anton, and I am joined by Stel. Stel, FA Cup. Do we go all out for it?
Well, Moyes has suggested that he wants to. He said he wants to win, get to another final. What better place to start than Sunday, and have a resounding win and see what happens. It would be nice, but I think at the moment we've also got to consider that Premier League survival, and it sounds really odd saying that, doesn't it? Is important. Yeah. I would like to. I'm sure every West Ham fan would love to get to a final, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, it would be, you get the comments at the start of the season. Would you want a top, I don't know, what, European finish or an FA Cup win? But for me, every single year, it's always going to be the FA Cup. I'm desperate for the FA Cup. I'm told so many times by my dad, who's been fortunate enough to see us win every cup, and he keeps ramming it down my throat.
Well, I haven't seen every cup, but I've seen 2.
Yeah. So I get it rammed from every angle, and it's just desperate for a cup run and a cup. We obviously got so close back in 2006. Yeah. And do you know what? I just want West Ham to take a cup competition extremely seriously. I just want them to be serious about a competition and think, let's go all out and try and give something back to the fans. This is an opportunity to give back to the fans. Something we're so desperate for still. Something we are. I mean, I'm assuming you're on the same wavelength as me. Listen, I know we are live. Get your comments in and let us know what your thoughts are on what we're saying. Where are you at with the FA Cup? But still, where are you at with the FA Cup?
I want us to do well. I want us to do well both in the league and in the FA Cup. You know, I was at Oxford when we got trounced 4-0 in the League Cup, and it was
the demise of Pellegrini.
It was absolutely that was the beginning of the end, wasn't it, for him?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was really upsetting going all that way because it was easy getting there. It weren't bloody well easy getting back, I can tell you. Especially when you've just been trounced 4-0. So I don't want to go all the way down to Gillingham and feel the same way coming back home on Sunday evening. I want to come home and say we've won, we're through into the next round. You know, absolutely. But these teams, I think you've got some stats on Gillingham. These teams, they're no pushovers.
No, they're not. I mean,
and they play different football to us in the Premier League, and we kind of forget what real football's all about sometimes because we want to do all this fancy stuff and not sort of dig in there. But of course, it's important. It's very important for us to do well. And I know Pellegrini. Yep. I know Moyes isn't taking the credit for what happened against Bournemouth the other night. He said it was down to the players. But of course, it was a great start for him, and you want him to. He's going to want to move on, isn't he? He's going to want to sort of keep the momentum going. And what better way than coming off a very, very convincing 4-0 win and going into the cup game with some confidence. Yes, we're away. Yes, we're against a lower league team. But I think we have enough of a squad to go out there and win it.
Yeah. You mentioned there about stats. We don't know a huge amount about the players at Gillingham, but what we do know is, I have mentioned it, they're unbeaten in the last 7 matches in all competitions. They are currently 11th in their league. They have actually not been beaten at home since early in November, so they've got a good run of form going at home. This time last year, they actually knocked out Premier League opposition Cardiff City en route to reaching the FA Cup 4th round last season. But, you know, something else which we didn't know and we only found out today was this is the first ever FA Cup meeting between Gillingham and West Ham. That's never taken place. We've only actually met Gillingham 4 times in our lifespan. Oh,
10 times.
10, sorry, yeah.
Six times in the Southern League back in 1912 to 1914.
Oh, we've got a new stato, guys. We've got a new stato here. We've actually, in the 2003, 2004, 2005 season, we won 3 of the 4 matches, losing one of those games in 2003 at the Priestfield Stadium. I mean, we're getting loads of comments already, and a typical comment you get still is, would you accept relegation if it meant silverware?
No.
I wouldn't either.
No, I wouldn't. The reason being is, as much as I want us to win a cup in modern times, you could always do it another season. Whereas if you go down, there's no guarantee you're going to come straight back up.
Yeah.
So there's no way I would take a cup over relegation at all. I think relegation for West Ham would be an absolute disaster. I genuinely don't think we'll go down. I actually didn't even think that we would whilst Pellegrini was there. But no, I think we can always look to play in a cup competition the next season, and if fans want to take a cup over going down, I'd be worried about that, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Still, we've not got the greatest of recent history in cup competitions. You mentioned there earlier in the season, Oxford United. Let's just bring last season's situation in, and it was Wimbledon in the 4th round.
Yeah, I was there for that too.
Yeah, you were. I mean, we've listened to what Moyes is saying. He's pretty much spoke out. He's been to an FA Cup final before, and he's kind of elaborating to the fact that he wants to give this a shot. By giving this a shot, what does that mean in terms of team selection?
Well, we've got more than 11 players that are capable of putting in a performance. And, it's interesting because a lot of fans complained about having a weakened team out against Oxford. But if you actually looked at that team, it wasn't that weak. Yeah. There were an awful lot of players there that should have put in a really decent performance, but they just didn't turn up on the day. Yeah. For me, you put out a team that's going to win. Obviously, everybody would love to see our best 11, but I don't think Pellegrini ever knew who our best 11 was.
No.
But David Moyes is going to find out who our best 11 is, but it might be a bit too soon for him. So I would like to, I think there are players that didn't start on Wednesday, such as Lanzini didn't start, Zabaleta didn't start, few others didn't start, who I would expect to sort of see starting. Diop didn't start. Masuaku didn't start. I'm not his greatest fan, but he didn't start. And you look around the team, and there are enough players there that you should be able to put in who'll go out and win this game. So I don't expect to actually see the 11 that played against Bournemouth on Wednesday.
Yep.
I expect to see a few of them. Probably Noble will play, Rice will play. You probably get Anderson, you might get Allaire, but you've got enough players in the squad, in addition to those players, to start the game and to actually win the game. Matt has just put out a team there. Martin, I don't know if he's fit. Martin, Zabaleta, Reed, Diop, Masuaku, Lanzini, Coventry, good shout. Sanchez, what are you all right, Matt? Sanchez, Holland, and Fornals and Ayeti. Apart from Sanchez, I'd take that team. And that team should be absolutely perfect to win. Even my nemesis, Masuaku, playing in that team should be enough to beat, a team like like Gillingham.
What's interesting though is today, or over the past couple of days, we've seen that today that Fabianski's missed training, Noble's missed training, Creswell's missed training. So there is no need or frustration in order to put these players out. We don't 100% know if Martin's fit either yet. Nothing's been said about David Martin being fit. So it looks like possibly it could be a Roberto start, which is something we have to take into consideration. I mean, we're now going back, not even last season, the season before. I think it was Wigan away in the FA Cup. We got knocked out. Another League One opposition. I was at that game as well, the one where Masuaku and famously spat and got his ban. But that'll be an interesting thing to see what happens there. And yeah, I've seen what Matt said. Zabaleta, I think Winston Reid will get his first competitive match under his belt. I can really, really see that. And to be honest, all joking aside, I think it's good timing for him to come in and show the new manager and show the fans where he's at. We need to see where he's at. Of course, he's been out for so long, and I think it'll be good for the fans to see where he's at. Still, I know we've got this long debate about him. You know, I'll hold my hands up and say when I think Ogbonna plays well, but you know yourself.
You do know Ogbonna is currently Hammer of the Year, don't you?
We'll talk about that in the future.
Let's talk about that now.
We're talking about that. We're talking about that in the gift of the gab. Let's talk about the players that are probably going to.
Okay. Well, I was right that we wouldn't see Winston Reid in 2019. I'd be very surprised if he plays on Sunday night, but I think it would be good if he does, because it's just good timing, isn't it, to see where Winston Reid's at, because the January transfer window's open. I don't actually think we'll strengthen in defence. I think we'll strengthen elsewhere, but it will be really good timing for Winston Reid to come back in, captain the team, and show what he's capable of, even if it's for 45 minutes. Because we need that strength in depth. You know, we're going into the second half of the season. We've only got to get an injury or two, and then we're in trouble. So it is important for Winston Reid to play. I hope he does. He'll be playing alongside the other reserve centre back, Diop. So it will be quite good. Quite good to see what happens there.
I tell you what, though, to have potentially 4 decent centre halves challenging each other will just give good competition for that squad, which is what we desperately need. So, Matt's mentioned Zabaleta. I mean, there's a probable. I mean, I don't know. Still, I really don't know if he will bring Zabaleta into the side. I mean, I think Fredericks is he's all right.
I've got to be honest, I don't know enough about the Gillingham squad to tell you if they've got any fast wingers or not. And I'm sure Moyes will have done his homework more than I have. And if he'll work it out, if he believes that he's got danger down the right side of our defence, then Fredericks will play. Fredericks is young enough and fit enough to be able to play Wednesday, weekend, et cetera,
completely agree.
So I wouldn't be surprised if Fredericks actually plays, but I also wouldn't be surprised if Zabaleta starts.
I think the biggest problem I've got is in the past approach to cup competitions is when we ring dramatic changes throughout the squad and the team for these cup games, where we kind of step up and we look into this game and we underestimate League One opposition in cup competitions. We always underestimate the underdog, and we never give them a chance. And that always shows with the lineup that we put out. Whereas there's a part of me that's like, you know what, Moyes will want momentum. Any normal manager will want momentum carried on forward from that fantastic victory at Bournemouth 4-0.
I agree. Yeah,
they want to continue that formation. They don't want to ring 7 or 8 changes, and I've seen what Matt's put in there. And I like the idea of some of the youth players coming in and out, but I don't want to see them all put in and out, because I want to see these players that are going to be starting week in and week out given the chance. But I do know that Moyes needs to ring the changes to see what he's got in his squad. But let's be honest, still, if he rings the changes for this game, is this going to give him a good insight into what West Ham turn up in the Premier League? It's
going to give him an insight on what he might need in the transfer window. Now, Ken Ham has just put Brendan Hallam. Thank you for that, mate, because I don't know. I haven't looked into the Gillingham team. Very fast for Gillingham. So if that's the sort of player that they have, then quite possibly, we might be seeing Fredericks over Zabaleta. I think what Moyes will do is he's not going to take the cup game lightly. I agree. He's going to want to keep the momentum up. He's going to want to go out there and win it. If that means not playing people like Zabaleta and keeping Fredericks in because of his pace and defensive skills, etc., then so be it. I think if he does play any, I don't want to call them fringe players, but if he does play the likes of, I don't know, Masuaku, Sanchez, Ayeti, and players like that, It's an opportunity for him to see how they perform under his guidance, rather under Pellegrini's. You know, we've seen Allaire and Anderson came to life on Wednesday because they were obviously given a completely different remit by Moyes than they were given under Pellegrini. Who knows? The same might happen with a Yeti. Yeah. You know, the same might happen with players like that. So it is an opportunity for him to gamble a little bit, but at the same time, yeah, he's going to want to keep the momentum going and
Absolutely.
win this game.
I'm just looking at some of the comments here. I mean, people are talking about
fast.
Yeah, they are. The majority of players run themselves into the ground on Wednesday. Moyes will give them a rest in preparation for Sheffield next Friday. I mean, the thing is, we're in a situation where we do have a little bit of history with Moyes, of course, but we don't really know. He's just come in with a new squad, so we don't really know what he is going to do. And I suppose what we'll see tomorrow is if we do move through to the next round, on Sunday, then we'll have a rough idea of the side he will put out for cup competitions. But I mean, we're sitting here, it's just a total guess, where normally in the Premier League we have a rough idea what he's going to do.
I think the good thing about Moyes is, you know, we forget that he actually does give youth a chance, and we all thought Pellegrini would, but Pellegrini was quite sporadic with his selection of.
Yeah, he really was. Yeah.
And Matt's just put another team up. He's mentioned Coventry and Holland again. Now I can see quite possibly those two players starting. Now Coventry is on the cusp, as we believe, to signing a new contract. And when we've been suffering in central midfield, I've been advocating for him to, you know, give him a run. We keep talking about we need a central box to box midfielder, and Coventry maybe could fill that gap, and we may not have to go out and buy a player. So I can see that happening. I can see him maybe playing a couple of youngsters to say to them, come on then, you know, show me what you're worth in the Premier League. I'll give you a full game, or I'll give you as much of a full game as possible. Go out there and prove something, so you make me start thinking about what I need, you know, what I need to do for the Premier League team. Because it is a great opportunity for Moyes. You know, he's coming at an interesting time to be able to give, you know, fringe players and youth an opportunity to see what they can do. So yeah, Matt, I think you're right, mate. I think potentially we can see a couple of youngsters on Sunday, and I won't mind that. You know, Coventry's rated. He's highly rated at the club, so why not?
There's a lot of different opinions in the group, in the chat today, which is quite refreshing to see. It just shows how everyone thinks differently. Matt saying doesn't think Anderson or Haller will start, and Neil, good day, mate. He says we should start with the strongest team, and there's an element of me that said we should start with the strongest team as well. I seen that Matt said that we shouldn't start with Sebastian Haller up top, where I completely disagree with you, Matt. I think we should. I think it will give him something that really annoys me with a West Ham fan is we've had the opportunity with our main striker to put them up top when we come up against a lower league side and potentially get an opportunity to get them on the score sheet. And you look at sides like Leicester and even Burnley and all them, and they'll start their one of within reason their good decent starting 11. And Jamie Vardy has got history in the FA Cup, and he scores goals when he starts against lower league teams. It breeds confidence. He moves into the next game. We know Haller has come off a fantastic goal. He was supported a lot in the game against Bournemouth. But moving forward into this cup competition, there's an opportunity here now for the other players to show they are capable, giving the service to Sebastian Haller, and hopefully for him to maybe go and bag a brace moving into the Sheffield United game, because that's what players like him need. You know, still, you said at the start of the season, we've signed a player here who's got the ability potentially to be our 20-goal-a-season striker. Exactly. Under the Pellegrini regime, that was starting to disappear ever so slightly. But you got a little snippet back of what he is capable of, because he ran his arse into the ground against Bournemouth himself. Yeah. Now, people are slagging off Bournemouth for their performance, but you look at West Ham and they weren't as static. We were nowhere near as static as what we've been.
Yeah, forget Bournemouth. We play who we have to play. You know, it's not up to us whether they're fit already or have injuries or whatever. That's for them to worry about. We can only play the teams that are in front of us, and we decimated them on Wednesday night. We were a completely different team, and you're absolutely right. You know, we ran ourselves into the ground, and we bloody well deserved it as well. And that's the type of performance that we've been waiting for, like since the first six games of the season. So if Moyes can get that grit and determination back in with the flair, it's funny because I actually put up a post saying, I accept David Moyes, but I was uninspired by his choice. But having seen what he did on Wednesday and seeing that he actually allowed the flair players the freedom to play, Anderson back to his best.
Did you see the comment that Moyes said to Anderson? Apparently, that I don't know how true it is, but he said,
a Brazilian goal.
Just go and be a Brazilian and go score a Brazilian goal. Yeah. I was like, that's brilliant. That is, and do you know what? Still, he looked confident. He looked comfortable. And do you know what? See when he got subbed off, still he was happy.
He was okay about it. Yeah,
and that makes total sense. That was a management style. It's funny. I think I was also uninspired by the Moyes appointment, but then I listened to his interview, and then I tried to stay. I didn't want to get carried away by the YouTube videos from West Ham, but equally you can see when you've got a guy that he has been at the club before, and he spoke passionately, and I loved some of the comments he said. I'm going to make it impossible for them to get rid of me, and he didn't need to say stuff like that. I mean, anyone could say anything, but that kind of touched the note. And I think I sent you a message, you an Alpha message maybe, and I said to you guys, as like, God, maybe we need to give him we obviously need to give the guy a chance. We need to give him a shot.
It's interesting. I'm prepping my show for Sunday, and I've been looking at Moyes' stats, and his win rate at all the clubs he's managed is 49%.
But it's not great with West Ham, though.
Hang on. No, I know that. But bear me out. So his overall win rate is something like 48, 49%. His best win rate, ironically, was when he was at Man U, 52%. And then I looked at the stats thinking, well, couldn't have been, they must have got rid of him because he was much worse than Sir Alex Ferguson. Now, Sir Alex Ferguson in 27 years, his win rate was only 60%. So imagine what he might have been able to do if he was given longer at Man U. And it kind of now feels the same here. Yes, I know his win rate at West Ham was only 29%. But what he did, he stopped us from losing. We were drawing a lot, and that's what kept us up, the fact that we actually drew a lot of games. And if he's given the opportunity, I'm going to be interested to see what he does in the transfer window. I'm going to also be interested to see, what he does in the summer transfer window as well, and then see what kind of team he wants to build. And I just think maybe we were all wrong about Moyes. We all got carried away with the lure of a Premier League manager, a winner. In Pellegrini, and we all thought we were going to be Champions League and all that sort of stuff. And we come down to reality, and the reality starts on Sunday when we play a lower league team in the FA Cup. And see what Moyes does with that, and see how seriously he takes that. And if he takes that seriously, then great. I think we'll all be happy. Absolutely.
What I am seeing though in the chat is very mixed reviews under whether or not what team will get put out, whether it's going to be a strong 11 versus 6 or 7 swap around of players. So it's an interesting point of view. It'll be good to see what Moyes does. Someone's actually come in and said that Moyes has said today that Fabianski will start even though he missed training. And if he is fit, then of course he needs to start, in my opinion. That's an absolute no-brainer. It's all going to be changed next year when it comes to the FA Cup, because obviously we've got the World Cup coming round. Is it the following year? No, what is it?
It's the European Cup next year.
No, but the year after, it's the 2022 is the World Cup in Qatar. And I think next winter, I think we fall into a new system in preparation for 2022. So I'm seeing in the comments here a lot of comments about players are getting injured left, right, and centre over the Christmas break. So we know over the next couple of winters that will change. So that will be an interesting point of view. But let's just get on to, we've been on the chat here for a while. Let's get on to our predictions for the game. We don't know what team's going to start. Well, what players would you like to see still before we go on to predictions?
All right. So for me, I think, if Fabianski plays, that says an awful lot, because he won't even consider playing these reserve keepers in this game. Yeah. So Fabianski, for me, I'd see Fabianski, Fredericks, Diop. I'd probably keep Ogbonna there, to be honest, and maybe bring Reed on later in the game. Unfortunately, he's going to play Masuaku, and I can't do anything about that. unless I kidnap Masuaku and make him miss the game. He's going to play midfield. Let's see. I think he will play Anderson. And I think he might give Ajeti a start. Yeah. And I think Coventry will come in. I think Holland will come in. And I think Noble may start as well. If not Noble, it'll be Rice. But it'll be Rice and Coventry, or Noble and Coventry. Or give one of those two players a rest. So, and in terms of result, I think we've got to be positive. I think we've got to keep another clean sheet and win 3-0, is what I think.
Yeah. And do you know what? Still, I agree with you on that. I think 3-0 is a decent prediction to put out there. And I think if we, and hope that we start with Sebastian Haller up top, and I really would love for him to walk away with a brace. 3 goals in 2 games in the lead up to Sheffield United would do a striker like that a world of good in preparation for the Premier League. And I don't think we're going to ring the changes too much, but I think we will see a few, maybe 3 or 4 changes in the starting lineup. So it'll be an interesting. It'll be an interesting one here. So what's the last comment? Stell, is your offer still on and taking Sanchez to the airport for free?
Oh, mate. I'd absolutely. And I'll have Masuaku in the back of the cab as well. I'm sorry, people. I can't make up my mind who's worse, Masuaku or Sanchez. Probably Sanchez by a hair's breadth.
So, listen, what we are doing, we are, of course... back in the transfer window is open. Stell will be coming to you with his weekly update, which will be put out on Sunday evening. Is that right, Stell? Although we do have the game.
I'm going to be at the game, but I'm going to record it quite early. So
I was just thinking, though, I wonder, we can maybe talk about it after, because obviously we'll have the review of the game after. So I wonder if it's maybe... We'll maybe have a look at changing the schedule for that if any of you are looking at keeping up to date with us. We are going to be starting with our transfer shows that are coming back. We do them every single transfer window. Let me just get one point clear here. We are not breaking you any news. We are not telling you players are signing for the club. We are traipsing the internet, finding as much information as possible. And then when we see players that are linked to us, we're looking at their statistics, their history, and potentially what they can bring to our side. So we are not telling you anything that you would, just giving you information that you didn't know about a player. And to be honest, I find it quite informative, and I find it quite interesting to look into the statistics of a player. We don't just sit on YouTube and look at their highlights. We do dig in deep. We do a little bit of scouting, so it's quite decent. So they'll be starting up over the next month, so keep an eye on them. If you see any players linked, hit the channel, have a look at the video we put up, because we will be doing videos of them probably within reason daily, because we're West Ham and we're linked to every Tom, Dick and Harry. And of course there'll be more shows coming up. So Stell will be going to the game. Hopefully we'll get a review from the game of some sort. If not, we'll sort something else out. Stell, any last comments before we go?
Oh no, let's just hope we put in a decent performance. Let's hope we go away with a win, get ourselves into the next draw, and build up that confidence. And I think this is another good thing. It's if we win, not if we win, when we win on Sunday, that's 2 wins in succession, which we haven't done for a while. That win we had against Bournemouth was our best home win since 2005. Something like that, So we just need to build up the confidence and keep it going, keep the momentum going. If we need to get the fringe players and the under 23s involved in this game, give them a taste of first team football. That can't be bad. But do it with aplomb, and not walk away feeling depressed after Wimbledon and Oxford, as we've done the last year or so.
Absolutely, fingers crossed we can actually get through to the 4th round of the FA Cup. And
then get Liverpool away.
Not have egg in our faces. Do you know what though, Stell? I know a lot of people say that, but are you not a bit pissed off with League One opposition always putting us out of the cup?
I've got to be honest,
So maybe if we take the highest team, we might get a chance. Maybe we can become the underdog and do something all right in the cup competition. True, so it's been a while. Anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure you get the comments in when you are not watching this live. Get the comments in and let us know what your thoughts are on the channel, on the show. Get your predictions in for the side and get your predictions in for the result on Sunday night. We'll come back to you with a review. Anyway, he's been Stell over there. I've been Anton. We're Irons United. Come on, you Irons.